JavaScript classes are interesting because they are just notoriously hated. And yet, whenever I use them, I'm like, I kind of like it.
Seems
And whenever
fine.
you
somebody
ask
will be like, no,
online,
they're awful.
Yes. You ask
It's
why
weird.
don't people like them? And they're like, because we don't like them. And you're like, that's not an answer. Yeah, I don't get that at all.
Well, it's definitely I'm sure a large number of people have very strong opinions about it, but you learn with all of these things, it's a little bit of groupthink. It's a little bit what do we think about JavaScript? Oh, we don't like them? Okay, we don't like JavaScript classes.
Yeah.
And you notice this with the PHP stuff as well.
Yep.
I've been in the industry long enough just to see, and you guys have too, to see the trends come and go, and this is the hot thing, and then suddenly it's not the cool thing, and nobody uses it, and everyone acts like they were part of the right group the whole time along, and it's never that way.
Command buses are out, actions are in.
Right.
Yep.
And it's like, they're not that different.
They're not
But
that different.
actions are the hot thing, and I get it because I like actions too. But
actions are great.
Before actions, they were something called use cases. And long before Laravel, I worked at a company called Envato, and they had kind of a similar thing, and they called them use cases, but it was basically the exact same thing. It's funny to see these kind of trends and practices come, and then they disappear, and then they come back again. And whenever they come back, everyone assumes that's like a brand new way of doing things. It's not. It's the way that it was done 20 years ago.
Yep.
It's nice how we've landed in this little relatively calm section of the internet development world, though. I would not want to be in the JavaScript end of the world. Like, that is just, it's brutal over there. I don't know. There's a lot of anger. It's a lot of just like change for change's sake, as we've kind of been talking about throughout the show here. But yeah, I don't know. The slow, steady progress of PHP and Laravel is so nice.
I even think the Laravel the handoff point to the JavaScript world is getting a little fast for me. You pull down a starter kit and it's all TypeScript and it's all, generated types and all this stuff. And I'm just like, we've moved on to Vue 3 composition API, which I know is what we're supposed to be using. And I just feel like I'm an old man at this point.
It's good, Aaron. You just got to do it. You just got to do it.
I know.
Composition API. You know what? Composition API is like Tailwind. Your first experience is probably negative. It's like, what are we doing here? What? I got to add 10 class. And then suddenly you're like, okay, I get it. That's how I feel about the Composition API. It leaves a horrible taste in your mouth the first time you use it. And then once you stick with it, and especially recently, they've added more macros to simplify some of the annoying stuff. It starts to make sense. And I get it, though. When it was first released, I thought, Evan, the creator of Vue, what are you doing, man?
What are you doing?
You're going to destroy
you jumped the shark. Yep.
Did you not see that Angular did this exact thing where they released a new version? It wasn't compatible and they lost all their audience. You're going to do it again. But to be fair, I think in hindsight, I think he was right, because I do enjoy the Composition API quite a bit. But yes, other than that, Java,
was he right, though? Because I feel like everybody uses React. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think Vue's even like in the conversation. I don't think that was
the reason, though.
Yeah, I feel like the Composition API maybe was like, we're trying to stave off React, but
I think that's right. Yeah,
maybe you're right. Do you guys think React is a better tool, or it's just the more popular tool?
More popular.
I haven't used either enough. Like I built one app in Vue a long time ago. I learned React a couple years ago just to try it out. I learned, I just went through it, and I don't remember any of it now, but I don't know. I just stick with Livewire. I'm like, just leave me on the back end. I don't want to deal with all the weird stuff in the front. It's fine. I like Livewire. That's enough for me.
I'm curious, at this point, I haven't used Livewire in a while. Is there any point when you're using Livewire where you're like, I have to write a bunch of JavaScript? And is the idea like, once you need to do that, you're just reaching for Alpine?
Yeah, in the spots where if you have to write some JavaScript, you would just want to use Alpine generally, because it's kind of seamless and they work together a little bit or whatever. But you could do a lot with no JavaScript, basically, or very, very little JavaScript. If you want mostly I think it comes down to, there's a few spots you're going to want to drop into JavaScript here and there if you want something needs to be truly optimistic UI sort of, and not wait for that response from the server. But for most things, it's just fine. And then occasionally, if you have something like a critical element that you really want to be actually instantaneous, then you can go into JavaScript to help with that. But yeah, that's kind of most of the time you don't need to drop into JavaScript. But there's a lot of black magic to it. So there is it can be frustrating at times where you're like, how does this all wire up? There's a weird, there has its own quirks. It's not a total solution. It's not like, oh, you just use it and you don't have any trouble. It's just all perfect. There are sometimes if you bump up against the magic, it can be
But you know what?
frustrating.
That's true if you're using Vue or
That's
React as
true
well.
everywhere.
Like you
Yeah,
end up
that's
with
true.
some white screen and something in console.log that
Yes.
you have no idea what it's referring
Yep.
to. That's the worst
It's
thing. If you're
40
using React or
frames of vendor, and you're like, I don't know what any of this means.
exactly. It's like, this isn't helpful to me at all. And
Yeah.
God, sometimes I've just had situations where it's like, I have no clue where the issue is. I have no pointer to where it is. And I'm just going to slowly like delete lines of code to see if it makes the
Yep.
error go away. And then I have to
Yeah.
like narrow it down like, okay, this was the thing that caused it because for whatever reason, it doesn't show up in the error log.
Mhm.
I've run into that as well. So you have issues no matter what you use, I think.
I do think the one nice thing nowadays in like the Vue React side of the world, which is an improvement, and I'm talking totally out of school and my very limited knowledge here of playing around with it a little bit, but is like at least with inertia, like you get rid of all the state stuff. I don't know. I feel like when I was more back in the day trying to figure out React and these things, like, well, now I'm like using these state things on the front end. I'm trying to on my
Yep.
own to synchronize it to the back end, and like things are out of whack with each other, and now it's all a disaster. Whereas at least just treat it like, okay, inertia is going to sync it to the back, and I don't have to ever worry about that. It's like
Yeah. I do love
a
it.
better
Inertia is
story,
really great.
you know. So I like that, but
My
yeah.
only issue with React has ever been like I don't care either way. But it always feels like React is very programmery, with a
Yes,
Y
it
on
is
the end.
very
And
low level.
right, and it's like I'm just
Yeah.
not interested. To me, it almost sometimes feels like the antithesis of what Laravel is.
Mhm.
And
I
whenever I
agree.
see those examples where it shows like the Vue implementation and then the
Mhm.
React, I always pick the Vue implementation.
Yep.
Yeah.
And it's always weird because like 98% of people are telling me this is the right version,
I
but
know.
I prefer this one over here. And I don't know. I feel like you should stick with your gut on these things, but it is true. Like React, like won the battle.
So far, yeah.